A few days ago, my 17-year-old son and I walked into a chemical manufacturing facility. We were there to look at buying the business. Now, neither one of us knows anything about chemical manufacturing. We've never worked in the industry, never studied it. So the obvious question is, are we crazy? Or is this actually the smartest move we could make? Well, let me tell you what we're thinking. Picture this: barrels of chemicals everywhere, lined up in no particular order, racks of bathtub sized containers filled with even more chemicals. It looked like absolute organized chaos. Intimidating? For sure. But here's what I realized pretty quickly: these were just ingredients, raw materials, the pieces that go into the recipe of each finished product. It's really not that complicated. The final product gets packaged in everything from 50-gallon drums down to 1 gallon bottles. Sales are delivered locally by truck or shipped long distance to customers. It's a very small operation, especially considering the chemical manufacturing industry is so big and gigantic as a whole. But that's exactly where we think the opportunity is. The opportunity isn't in the current business, it's what we could build out of it. Right now, it's a small local operation, limited reach, limited branding, but the potential to build a brand, to expand into national accounts, to scale direct sales. That's the vision. But here's the key question we're wrestling with: does it matter that we know nothing about this industry? Well, I've thought about it, and here's what I believe: business is business. The same success principles apply across almost every industry. Develop systems and processes, take care of your employees, be hyper responsive to customers, maintain diligent quality control, and then sell, sell, sell. You don't need to be an expert in chemical formulations to run a chemical business. You need to be an expert in business. You can hire the people that know the chemistry or learn it yourself. You focus on the operations, the sales, the growth. That's the model. But this is important. It's still a massive decision. Buying a business is always risky, especially when you're picking up somebody else's work that they're willing to leave behind, because you never really know why they're selling their business. They tell you they're retiring, they tell you they want to pursue other opportunities, they tell you it's for personal reasons. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. The best you can do is research the opportunity as much as possible, spend a few weeks, ideally, thinking it over, ask hard questions, dig into the numbers, and then you have to go with your gut. But here's what's make the decision so hard. It's really not about the money or not even about the risk. It's about the commitment. Life and your career are really nothing more than a series of decisions about what you're willing and able to commit to. A new job, you're committing. A marriage, you're committing. Moving to a new city, another commitment. Having kids, well, that's certainly the biggest, and in my opinion, the best commitment. These are the biggies, the ones that dictate how the next few years or even the next few decades shape up for you. Commit wisely and things go one way. Make the wrong commitment, often through no fault of your own, and things can be very different. Unforeseen consequences pop up, such as life. A challenge, a game, a maze, actually, all of the above. And here's what makes this even harder today than it was for previous generations. Our decisions to commit to big career changes are so much more difficult and complex than they have been in decades past because technology has become so pervasive. It's changing so rapidly. Many careers have short lifespans now. You can become an expert at a skill that's rendered obsolete by new technological advances in 5 or 10 years. My grandfather worked for one company his entire career, 40 years. Same job, same industry. He knew where he'd be in 10, 20, 30 years. He committed. But we don't really have that luxury anymore. As soon as my son and I evaluate this opportunity and other business options, we're thinking in terms of minimum 5 year commitment. And we're keeping a key eye on disruptive changes because they're coming. They always are. The question is, can we build something that adapts, or are we committing to something that will be obsolete before we even get started? So where does that leave us with this chemical manufacturing business? Honestly, we don't know yet. We're not going to rush into anything. These things take time to sort out. We need to dig deeper into the numbers, talk to the current owner some more, understand the customer base, and decide on the growth potential. And we need to answer the big question: Is this what we want to commit to for the next 5 years? Because if we buy this business, that's what we're signing up for. 5 years minimum of learning the industry, building systems, growing sales, managing employees, dealing with problems. That's a lot, especially for a 17-year-old son who just quit his car wash job and graduated high school. But maybe that's exactly why this makes sense. So I asked Pax, my son, after we left the facility, what he thought. And he said, actually, it's overwhelming, but also kind of exciting. I thought that summed it up perfectly. He sees barrels of chemicals and thinks, I have no idea what I'm doing. I see I see barrels of chemicals and think, we can figure this out. That's the difference between 17 and 56. Experience gives you confidence. It's the unknown and it's manageable. But his instinct, his gut feeling, that matters too. If he's not excited about it, if he's just going along because I think it might be a good idea, then it's certainly the wrong move. This has to be our decision, not just mine. And that brings up the bigger question we're still wrestling with. Should we even buy a business at all? Or should we start one from scratch? Buying a business gives you immediate revenue, existing customers, and proven systems. Well, at least that's what you hope. But you also inherit someone else's problems, outdated processes, and a reputation that you didn't build yourself. Starting from scratch gives you complete control, no baggage, and a fresh start. But you also face no revenue on day one, building everything from zero, higher risk, and a longer timeline to profitability. Both paths have merit, both paths have risk. Which one is right for us? Well, that's what we're still figuring it out. Over the next few weeks, we'll be digging deeper into this opportunity and hopefully some more. We'll be asking harder questions, running the numbers, and talking through the various scenarios. And I'll bring you along for the ride. This is what a journey actually looks like, a business journey. It's never clean, not straightforward, just real decisions with real consequences. Please subscribe so you don't miss it. And if you've ever bought a business or even thought about it, please drop a comment. What would you like to do or see before you pull the trigger? Until next time.